Hello friends, and welcome to a new video. Well, now there's only 1 week left for that much anticipated UFC 300 in, which has a lineup that, despite not being the lineup with that main card we were hoping for, well, a very cool lineup. And today I bring my best as I bring you one of the most important fights of that card, and it's none other than Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira. And it's a very important fight since the winner is the next challenger for the 155-pound belt. A belt that no lightweight has yet disputed, and that's because its owner Islam Makhachev has only defended it twice since getting it against George Oliveira. And against a featherweight like Alexander Volkanovski. It should be noted here that the event scheduled on October 21st, 2023, Sheffield United Football Club 294, who was Charles Oliveira scheduled to fight Islam Makhachev in that fight rematch, but he had that mysterious cut on his eyebrow that prevented him from fighting against Islam Makhachev. And I say mysterious because of the way it happened, and it's that Dana White himself made some statements in which he said he didn't understand how they hadn't notified the UFC of that gap so they could have sent to their own doctors, and that Charles Oliveira would have been ready for it. The fight, so this incident left him out of combat for that confrontation with Alexander Volkanovski. Shayad Asi Yas had to be Charles Oliveira's replacement and fight him once, and this means that Islam has not yet defended the belt with any lightweight Before we go into the highlights of the fight, I want to ask you that if you are watching this video and are not yet subscribed, to pause for a moment, subscribe and hit like for this content to reach more. That said, let's dive into the key points of these warriors for this fight. And for that we will start with the challenger. Armand fighter is 27 with a record of 21 wins and 3 losses as a professional, 8 wins and 2 losses in the UFC, 1 in his debut against Islam Makhachev and another against Mateusz Anrok, coming off a steamroll over Benil Dariush with a tremendous blow in the first round, in what has been his most important victory.
Subtitles made by the Amara.org community.
Key point number 1, Tsarukyan move que pases Samasikla and Wishamurias very quickly, mixing takedown feints with rapid jabs and front kicks with which he maintains distance well. And is that despite being a short fighter, he has a method with 70, has a reach of 1.84 m, so he keeps larger opponents away and hits them really well. Key point number 2, defense against takedown. Arman Tsarukyan has a 75% takedown defense accuracy, making him a difficult fighter to take to the ground. As an example, we saw in the fight he had with Islam Makhachev, who fought with him for 3 rounds, and although won the fight, but was not seen to dominate either in wrestling or in the great pound Arman Tsarukyan. So here in the theme of struggle and soil, caste, sun and life, it has it tough.
Lisa, let me go my way, my way. Enough.
Key point number 3, the cardio. Arman Tsarukyan has very good cardio, and the resistance to hits makes him a fighter who can knock you out in body movement of any of the rounds, as he has shown against several of his opponents. Here we'll have to see how Charles Oliveira's cardio is, because he hasn't gone to the end of 3 rounds since the fight with Tony Ferguson in December of 2020. So this is a very important piece of information.
A child. That's it. The end song next time we sing together. Trust me, there's nothing wrong. I just need to keep going because society is a myth. Subtitles made by the Amara.org community. Yeah, don't ask questions. Just shut
These
your
friends are the
3 key points I've taken from Tsarukyan for his matchup
against Charles Oliveira. And now let's go over the key points of Charles II Bronx Oliveira, a fighter who needs no introduction, since he has fought with the cream of the division, and who, despite being often questioned, has always known how to capitalize on his performances and rise again in the lowest moments. Here I have to say that I got a lot of criticism in a video I made in which the champion has a name, and it's Tsarukyan. That's when they announced this fight between both of them, and in which I then discussed all these issues I've talked about before to Dana White. That thing about the gap and how he backed out of the fight. And well, because of all that, I received a lot of criticism, but well, in the end, I merely exposed the actions speak louder than words. Here is what remembering each aspect of the gap issues, and then the UFC has shown he's not a fighter, which is very loved. Because the 2 times he has gone to face Islam Mahat, they have been placed in the Middle East where hydration issues and schedule matters are much more favorable for and now they're putting
him up against Tsarukyan, who really is enough us not to crack into the lane, and that's why I said he's not a fan favorite for UEFA.
With that said, let's get to the mess. Key point number 1 of Charles Oliveira, the knockdowns. Okay. We've seen knockdowns against Michael Chandler, against Dustin Poirier, against Justin Gaethje, and more recently against Beneil Dariush. Charles Oliveira really packs a punch a lot, and it hits really hard as soon as when there's an exchange that's just crazy. He really capitalizes on those exchanges with his strikes. So here Tsarukyan really needs to be careful and stick to his game plan and not start trading with Charles Oliveira. In a crazy exchange, it can lead to a great problem for him. Key point number 2, submissions. Oliveira is the fighter with the most submission finishes in UFC history with 20. He's also the fighter with the most fight night bonuses, 19. So that makes him an extremely tough opponent on the ground. And while he could not do it with Islam Makhachev, the leg triangle at that moment in the fight, we'll have to see how Marshall Diande can defend himself of throwing punches and eventually getting to the ground, which I think they will, because the fight at some point is going to the ground. So here the one who needs to be careful is Tsarukyan.
Let's go.
Change in my life because I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. And that's all for today. See you in the next video.
Key point number 3, the experience. Well, Charles Oliveira, aside from being already 34 years old, has a resume of impressive battles, has experience in fights, both championship and fighting with very big top fighters. Then here, experiences on his side is will know how to set the pace, when to take the fight to the ground, when not to. All those battles give him that experience. You'll be able to read very well what's the status of the fight, when to act, what to do, what things like that. Here, pressure for this fight is all in the hands of Tsarukyan, who is the one who needs to progress to be able to reach to the main fight.
This is my life, my struggle, my right to fight, to die. And this is my game to play, to claim a brand new name. All subtitles by the subtitles by the Amara.org community. Subtitles by the Amara.org community.
Well, friends, these are the 3 points I've come up with for Charles de Bronze Oliveira for his April 13th match in this WIF. Was 300 against weapons. While many of you surely have more key points or others, well, you know you can leave them there in the comment box and we'll interact. And you know if you like the video, you can like, subscribe, and see you in the next video. See you soon.
Thank